Hey, welcome to your practice. I'm Ashley, and today we're gonna go over a pretty stretchy sequence. So if you're an athlete of any sort, or if you know that you're tight from your job or just everyday life, this practice will hopefully help you warm up and stretch your body. We'll be going through all parts of the body, so neck, hands, arms, feet, legs, hips, back, chest. So it would be helpful if you had some props. Any household items will do in terms of a blanket of some sort. You can use a pillow of some sort, a belt for a yoga strap. And if you have 2 blocks, those would also be great, but not totally needed here. Okay. So how we're gonna start is on our backs, and we're gonna take our blankets and we're gonna give them just a nice roll. So taking your blanket in its long position, probably fold it a little bit, taking a nice roll here. And so if you have a thicker blanket, you'll kind of want the roll to be long. If you have a thinner blanket, you could probably fold it in half one more time and then roll it so that it's a little bit thicker. Okay, and then from there, we will take the blanket across the back of your mat, like so. We're gonna turn around now and lie on the blanket. Now, the idea of where we're lying on the blanket is not our shoulders, not our shoulder blades. We want to be right beneath the shoulder blades with the blanket. So we're gonna start by placing our shoulder blades on the blanket, and then we're gonna roll over the blanket so that our shoulders ground onto the floor. And this will be a nice gentle way to open up through the chest and through the front of the shoulders. So finding your shoulder blades flat on the blanket to start, taking the arms in a goalpost position and just kind of rolling over the back. So the blanket is actually pulling the bottom tips of your shoulder blades down. Okay. And then from there, go ahead and knock the knees together, turn the feet inward, and just let your body rest. Now, if this feels too harsh or too much of a back bend for you, if this is too much of a back bend for you, you can always minimize the roll. So just roll it maybe halfway, not all the way. But right now we're just kind of getting a sense of this feeling in the body with the shoulder blades pulled down. And the shoulder blades pulled down the back really allows the backs of the shoulders to be pulled down, which stretches the chest, as you can feel here in this position. So very different than how we're used to going about daily life, right? So once you've found your positioning, take your arms to be flat, okay, goalpost or arms out to a T if your wrists don't touch in goalpost. And roll your head side to side a few times. Massage out the base, the back of your skull. And then let your bones sink. Let the weight of your pelvis sink into the floor. And begin to do a scan of the body. Noticing anything at all in your awareness right now that you can notice. Maybe your mind goes directly to places of ache, pain, tightness. Or maybe your mind goes somewhere else. Wherever it goes, just bring it right back to a place on the body that you'd like to focus, just for a moment. And then move that awareness into other areas of the body. So we can start here from the crown of the head, noticing the crown of the head. Can you soften the crown of the head? And then let that awareness travel down the back of your skull and into the place where your skull fits into your neck fits into your skull, that connection. And then traveling down the neck and into the trapezius muscles, the shoulders. Notice length or lack thereof. And then start to feel the shoulder heads, feel the groundedness, maybe difference between the two. And then feel the weight of the arms as you glide your awareness into your fingertips. Feel any sensations at all in the fingertips. And then start to take your awareness into the palms of your hands. Notice any sensations in the palms, any gripping in the wrists as you continue to spread your awareness towards your elbows, biceps, inside into the armpit, the chest. See if you can soften the chest. Notice any tension, any areas of gripping in the chest. See if your shoulders can grow just a little bit heavier here. And then allow your awareness to travel into the rib cage. Notice the gentle lift of the rib cage. Traveling outside on the edges of the body into the intercostal muscles inside the ribs. Notice the stretch. Feel the back of the ribs as they descend deeper towards the earth. And then feel your sacrum, that space of your low back, that flat place right above the buttocks, right below the low back. Start to sense if your sacrum feels heavy. Notice if it feels flat. Notice the gentle curve of the spine as you transition into the lower portion of the spine of the back. And then wrap your awareness around your pelvis into your frontal hip bones. And notice any gripping there. Can you soften into the frontal hip bones? Can you start to notice the center of your belly? Can you soften there? Notice any gripping there. And then allow your awareness to spread to your legs. Notice the softness in the quadricep muscles or tension. Notice the touch of your inner knees. And then notice the calves if you're holding tension there, the ankles, the weight of your heels, your toes. And then begin to trace your awareness up at the middle of your body into your throat. Soften your throat. Notice if you're holding at all in the roof of your mouth or your tongue. Soften the roof of your mouth and your tongue. And then relax your lips. Soften your gums, your teeth. Soften your jaw, let the jaw gently unhinge. Bring awareness to your cheeks as you allow the cheeks to gently just spread out to the sides of your face. Relax your ears. Carry your awareness into your temples as you soften your temples. Soften your eyes, let them sink into your eye sockets. Soften your eyebrows, your forehead. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Allow the space between your eyebrows to completely soften. Soften your entire face and head. Relax the entire body. As you transition your awareness now, transition it to your breath. Become aware of your breathing. Become aware of the sensations of breathing. Begin to connect the breath with the body. Become aware of the physical sensations of breathing. How the body moves with the breath. Begin to deepen your breath and see if you can take your breath now into your back ribs. So inhaling, feel the back ribs expand. You may feel other places expand as well, but really focusing on the back ribs. Next inhale, feel the belly expand. Front of the back ribs, front ribs, lower ribs, belly. Exhale, feel that space just soften and release. Taking another inhale, feel the back ribs, the belly, and the front ribs all expand upward, downward, to the sides. And as you exhale, just feel that space soften. So we're going to work with this belly breathing today as we move into some stretches. So just from here, start to just roll one ear to the mat and then the other. Keep the face soft. Keep the fingertips soft. And then slowly just knock your knees to one side and then the other. Notice that stretch happening in the low back. Just gentle tug. Okay, and then slowly start to just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, coming out of this place of stillness. Good. And then once your knees fall over to one side where you feel comfortable, roll to that side and gently press yourself up into a seat. Okay. Now, if you know that you're tight in the hips, you'll take your blanket or pillow and you'll place it underneath your hips. And so we're going to come up to a comfortable seat. You might feel pretty relaxed. Okay. So coming into a comfortable seat, you can sit cross-legged like so, okay, with one shin in front of the other, or you can choose to take one foot on top of the other, but we're keeping it gentle today, so just sitting cross-legged. And of course, if you still feel tight in the hips, you can always sit on a pillow as well. All right. Now from there, roll the shoulders a few times back, and then pull the shoulder blades back gently, so we're not pulling too much. And then from there, as if there was a string attached to the crown of your head, lift the crown of your head and start to feel that stretch along the neck. You can almost feel as though the spinal vertebra is just peeling apart. And then continue to enhance the stretch by lifting up and rooting down through the sit bones. And trace your awareness on that lift of the spine. So notice that it starts from the crown of the head, and then allow the awareness to travel down your back, down the back of the spinal vertebra. And then still feeling that lift with each point of awareness. So middle back lifting. And then tracing your awareness down the lower back, lifting. So we're feeling this length in the spine. And then from there, start to turn your tailbone just slightly down. Stay on the sit bones. And then take your hands over to your thighs. Just for a moment, knit the elbows back. Take a nice breath in. Feel the belly inflate, breath out. Feel the belly soften. Okay. From here, let's take our hands down to the right, our left hand down to the floor. Inhale your right arm up. And on your exhale, just gently bend over to your left side here. You want to think about taking the chin away from the chest, just finding a gentle stretch. And then inhale, lifting the arms back up. Exhale, going to the other side. Chin away from the chest. Keep the ribs gently knit back. Inhale, arms come back up now. On your exhale, extend the arms forward and just find a gentle fold. So in a cross-legged position, we're feeling this in the outer hips. Continue to walk the hands forward, keep the chest lifted. Maybe place your hands flat. Now, from here, we're going to work through some engagement. So pressing into the hands, lift the heart, pull the outer arm bones back as if you're in down dog arms. Now begin to press the palms into the floor and imagine that you can drag them back. As you do that, lift your chest 1 inch. Good. Now allow the back portion of your rib cage to press forward into your back. So you're thinking about pulling the rib cage through your arms. Good. Hold. You should feel a gentle stretch happening in the back portion of the low back. So your QL muscles that run along the spine attached to the pelvis. So this may feel really nice if you feel compressed and you sit. Just start to feel that. Maybe start to kind of play around with some movement. Notice if you can find a really good place to stay. Breathing deeply into the belly. Okay, as you inhale, come back up to a seated position. Okay, and now come off of your blanket. We're gonna come onto our blanket in a different way on our backs. So you're gonna place the blanket in the center of your mat, and you're gonna take your strap with you. And what we're doing here is placing our, like the very back edge of your butt or bottom, down to the floor, right in front of the blanket. And then you're gonna lie back on the blanket. So you've got pretty much your butt on the floor, but you've got some space in the back here, right? Because you're arched in the back a little bit. Okay. Now from there, inhale your right leg up towards the ceiling. Now the reason why we have the blanket underneath us is to create a neutral pelvic tilt. And so what happens when we create a neutral pelvic tilt and we're trying to stretch the back of our legs, which we're about to do, okay, is that you're actually really stretching the back of the leg and you're not pulling the pelvis and rounding and pulling from back here. So we're just working on the hamstring right now. So the blanket allows us to keep our pelvis neutral. Then from there, lift the right leg up. Flex the right toes towards your face. Grab for both edges of the strap to start. Okay. And then from there, lift the heel of your extended leg. Lift it up to the ceiling. Close your eyes. Now I want you to sense the back of your heel. So you can sense the inner back heel and the outer back heel. So as you sense those two places, I want you to think about lifting from those two places, outer heel and back inner heel. Good. And now as you do that, start to think about pushing the ball mount of your foot, your big toe, up towards the ceiling. So you've got inner and outer heel lifting, and now you've got big toe ball mount lifting. And then from there, start to think about the pinky toe ball mount also lifting, keeping the foot flexed though. So all four edges of your foot are lifting. Now start to really engage through the right leg. You'll start to feel this gentle openness happening in the back of the foot, the sole of the foot, all the way down the leg into your hip. Keeping the toes somewhat spread apart if you could. Breathing. Just holding the stretch as you continue to keep your awareness on these spaces. So just notice where your attention goes. Okay, good. Now from there, start to lift up through the heel 1 more inch. Flex the toes towards your face. 1 inhale here. Okay, on your exhale, we're going to transition the weight into the left hand. You're going to slowly allow your right leg to descend to the left. Now we're keeping the bottom leg bent. So we're just allowing this leg to travel to the left side of your space, only so much as now your thighs are touching. Okay. Now from here, think about flexing the foot once again. And now think about the outer back heel reaching forward. Outer back heel. And you start to feel some engagement in the outer thigh and in the outer leg, outer calf. Now simultaneously start to press out into the big toe ball mound. And soften. Bring your leg right back up on the inhale. Okay, exhale, bend your knee, and then start to take the strap in your right hand, pull your knee down towards the earth here. Sole of the foot is still reaching towards the ceiling. Okay. Start to press your tailbone down to the floor if it's been lifted. should have been lifted at this point because of our positioning. Okay, take an inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Okay, from there, pull your leg in with your strap and take your hands through your thighs for a moment for a figure 4 stretch. Now start to really push out through the big toe of your right foot on this stretch. Okay. If the blanket underneath you is bothering you in any way, you can always remove it. I just ask that when we go back to hamstring stretching, you place it back underneath you. Okay, from here, take the strap off of your foot, cross your thighs over completely, pull your knees in. Okay, so now your tailbone's lifted off of the mat, you're completely on the blanket. Pull your ankles in towards your sit bones, towards your outer hips, and see if you can draw your knees in a little bit tighter. Draw the belly button down just for a moment, and now soften it. Take a nice breath in, start to feel the breath travel to the outer right hip. Okay. Slowly place your left foot down first, and then your right foot. All right. Tailbone's back on the floor. Left leg lifts. Strap around the ball mount of the left foot. Close your eyes. Ground through the back edge of your left hip. Okay, now start to notice differences here. Okay, differences from right to left. No judgment, we're just observing. Okay, from there, start to flex the foot. Okay. As you flex the foot, lift through the outer heel, outer back heel, inner back heel. Okay, it's a tiny little engagement, if you can think of it. So we're closing our eyes so we can really sense the body and turn off the thinking portion of our brain. Okay. And then from here, as you lift from the inner arch and outer arch, start to push into the big toe ball mount. Give a spread to your toes if they're not. Keep lifting, inner arch and outer, or inner heel and outer heel. Good. Keep the back of your left side pelvis rooted into the floor though. So notice where you're engaging. Are you trying to lift yourself? Are you trying to engage in the back of your pelvis, your low back? Good. Keep lifting inner heel, big toe, outer heel. Now think about the outer portion, outer ball mount, so pinky toe ball mount pushing. Okay, so we've got all 4 corners of our foot pressing up. Very nice. Good. Squeeze your quadricep, just gently, not too much. Lift your heel 1 inch higher. Ground your sit bone or the back of your pelvis. Okay. Now from here, keeping the right leg back, transition the belt into your right hand or strap. Gently allow the leg to descend over to the right. Okay, and let it just stop right where it meets your other thigh, so where it can almost rest. And press your top thigh into your bottom thigh. And now from here, start to push out through the outer heel, outer left heel. And now start to press into the left big toe. And now think about the inner heel. To notice what starts to unravel here. And if you feel some magic happening, feel free to stay longer. As you inhale, bring the leg back up, transition the strap into your left hand, pull the knee down towards the earth. Okay. And then just rooting now through your spine. So just gently give a slight tug to your leg as you start to really Draw your tailbone towards the earth. Okay, gently guide your ankle over to your right thigh for a figure 4. Okay. And then use your strap, pull the legs in, grab a hold through the legs. Keep pushing out through the big toe, ball mount. Keep thinking about pressing the left knee away from your shoulder. And then slowly start to slide your left thigh over the right thigh and draw the legs in. So now you're completely on the blanket. Now again, if the blanket's bothering you, go ahead and remove it. It's making it so that we're not totally rounding in the spine, okay? Start to gently allow the heels to draw down towards the hips a little more. Start to breathe space into that left outer hip. Slowly unwind. Take your feet flat to the floor. Roll to one side. Let's come on all the way up. You can release your strap. Take your blanket off to the side. Okay. And let's come on to a downward facing dog. So spreading the index fingers forward, hug the triceps in, tuck the toes, press your chest to your thighs, and then lift your hips up, okay? So just start to pedal out the feet, sway the hips a few times. Notice anything you can notice about this openness now in the back of your, in your lower back, the backs of your legs, okay? Start to feel the backs of your hips, pelvis. Breathing here, start to think about inwardly rotating the thighs. Okay, shift your weight forward now into a high plank. And then lower your knees. Okay, we're gonna take our blocks now. Now if you don't have blocks, that's totally fine. You'll place your elbows on the floor. If you have blocks, they're helpful. We're gonna walk our knees up now so that they're underneath our hips. You're gonna place your elbows onto the blocks or onto the floor. Okay. Hands come together. And then knit your ribs in. Tendency is you're gonna wanna drop them towards the floor. Knit them in, okay. And then start to just let your chest drop towards the floor. Okay, so the blocks provide a little bit of space for the head. Now push the palms into one another. And now think about drawing the elbows down, but in towards one another. Notice what's happening with your rib cage. Continue to let the heart melt towards the floor. Sit bones are reaching high. Now from here, start to draw the thumbs towards the back of your head. Think about grazing your thumbnails towards the back of your neck. And now start to just round through the tailbone. So tucking the tailbone, start to scoop the low belly and then sit a little bit deeper. Again, finding that roundedness in the tailbone, scoop the low belly and sit deeper. So we're essentially in a child's pose here with the knees somewhat together, not wide. Okay. Release the hands back down. Come on to hands and knees. We're going to come onto our bellies. Okay. Now, once you're on your belly, we're going to do a little bit of activation. So very light because we've just stretched some of the back. Take your hands now beside your rib cage and then roll the shoulders back. Cricket the elbows up. But think the shoulders are rolled up towards the ceiling. Pull them down the back so that they're away from your ears. And then slight chuck to the chin, gazing slightly forward. You're gonna feel this length now in the back of the skull and the back of the neck. Good. Now push the toenails into the floor. If you feel like you're a little bit tight in the low back, turn the big toes in a little. And now zip up through the low belly and squeeze your buttocks muscles towards one another. As you continue to zip up through the low belly, keep drawing your tailbone down towards the floor. And think about lengthening it towards your heels. Now simultaneously start to pull the crown of the head forward. You'll feel as though the hands want to drag back. That's a good sensation. Now take a nice big inhale from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Lift the crown of the head. Lift the heart. Keep the belly engaged. Pause. Keep reaching the crown of the head out. Keep pressing the toenails down. One more inch. Lower on the exhale. Place one hand on top of the other. Release. Maybe taking a slight bend to the knees, letting them rock, the legs rock side to side a few times. Just take a nice rest. Okay. So we engaged a little bit in the low back, which is really important. We're just connecting our brain to these muscles. Okay. And now from there, you may want to grab a block or a pillow, and we're going to stretch out the backs of the shoulders. So coming on up to Sphinx, elbows are underneath the shoulders, maybe a little bit of forward. Press into the toenails, lift up from the neck. So you're pushing the elbows down here. And then think about dragging the hands back. And as you do that, start to feel the crown of the head lift. And then you can play around. Take one ear to one shoulder, the other ear to the other shoulder. Chin to chest. Okay. And then when you take your chin to your chest, push into the elbows and lift the back portion of your neck up a little bit. Keep tucking the chin though. Lift the back of your skull up a little bit. Keep tucking the chin. Pushing into the elbows, lifting the ribs off the floor. Okay, release that. Slide your right arm underneath your left. Draw the right shoulder away from your face, and then slide your left arm over your right. Draw the left shoulder away from your face. Now we're gonna rest here. So you can just let your neck kind of rest in your, this little basket that you've made with your arms. Or you can place a block underneath you for support. But all we're doing here is breathing into this back of the shoulder capsule stretch. And as you breathe, you can really feel the space between the shoulder blades and your upper back spread, okay, just by sheer inhale. One more breath. Softening in the belly. Good, let's slide the arms out now. We're gonna go the other way. So left arm's gonna slide underneath the right arm. Right arm's over the left. Good, okay. And then from there, pull the outer shoulders down and find your rested position. Notice if your tendency here is you want to kind of hold yourself up with your elbows, let yourself sink into this. As long as there's no pain, as long as it feels okay in your body, just be aware and use your breath to accentuate the stretch. Really use your breath. One more breath here. Start to slide your hands out. Yep. All right. can release the block off to the side. Okay, have a strap handy if you know you're a little bit tighter in the quads. Let's take our left elbow in line with the left shoulder and go ahead and bend your right leg. And now reach for your foot with your hand or with your strap. Okay, and now if that's kind of too challenging right now, you can just lie on your side like this and grab your foot that way, okay, and pull on the strap. So we're just getting some preliminary quad stretching, okay. Now engagement here, whether you're on your belly or on your side, what we're thinking about doing is really pressing the right hip bone down, or if you're on your side, forward, away from your buttocks. So you're pressing it down and then you're giving a slight squeeze to the buttocks, and it's not too much of a squeeze. We're not engaging too much. Now simultaneously start to think about extending the top of the knee away from the hip. So we're lengthening now. And then think about extending the right side low belly away from the hip bone. So you've created this sensation of spreading from the hip bone away, up, and then the knee away from the hip, so that skin spreading down. And then slowly release. We'll switch to the other side. So again, reaching for your foot on your belly or taking it on your side, okay? Whatever feels most comfortable for you. Now, whatever way you took, start to feel the left hip bone extending forward or down, depending on how you're positioned. And continue to keep the knee in line with the hip and squeeze the left buttocks just a little bit. And as you squeeze the left buttocks, extend the knee away from the hip, just think of it as an engagement. It's not even like a movement. And then start to think about the low belly extending away from the top of the hip bone. One more breath here. Good, release that. Come back onto your belly, press yourself up. Okay, let's have a seat now on our heels. So this is a really, really great one for the tops of the feet and the shins, but also the quadriceps. So have a pillow or a blanket handy, because if this bothers the tops of your feet at all, you'll take some support underneath. Okay. So sitting on the heels, just start to draw the heels together, squeeze the thighs together. Okay. And then from there, just go ahead and walk the fingertips back, just an inch. And then notice what happens here. You start to feel the stretch in the quads. From there, start to lift your hips or engage your glutes, your buttocks muscles, and then just start to walk your fingertips back a little bit more. Keep engaging the glutes. Now, as you engage the glutes, you're going to want to separate the knees. Keep them pulled in towards the midline of the body. Now, without actually lifting the hips, keep engaging the glutes and then start to just walk back. So you should be feeling a stretch at this point. Now, if this is way too much, you just kind of hang out here. Okay, this is enough of a stretch for your quads. If you want more, you take it further. Keep thinking about pressing the hips up, squeezing the glutes. Let's walk the hands back forward. Take your left hand by your side, place your right hand underneath your right knee, pull the right knee up off the floor. As you do that, start to lean back. Right, so your ankle starts to actually lift, but the top of your foot is still pushing down. And release that side. Let's go the other way. Right. So the top of your foot is still pushing down. Leaning back. Awesome. Come on to hands and fours. Tuck the toes. Sit back as you tuck all 10 toes. Sit back, sit back. Hips towards your heels. Okay, walk the hands back now and lift the knees. All 10 toes are tucked and spread. Now close your eyes. And as you do this, start to shift your weight into each toe. So shift your weight into your right and left pinky toe. And your right and left fourth toe. And then travel that into the center toe. Push it down. And then the toe next to that. And then your big toe. So all 10 toes are pushing down. Lift your heels 1 inch. Okay, walk your hands back, back, back towards your feet. Lift your hips, come into a forward fold. Tilt your weight forward into your toes, spread them. Think about spreading the sit bones by dragging the heels apart from one another. And let the crown of your head hang. So feet can be separated here, about hips width. But that lengthening that we talked about earlier in this practice of the spine is also happening in this case, okay, if you allow it. This time gravity is lengthening it, not you. So what I want you to think about is the crown of the head just hanging off the edge of the neck. Completely let it hang. And notice any sensations you feel there of decompression in the spine. And then continue to imagine dragging the heels apart. And then continue there to allow the head to hang heavy. You can always add a interlacing of the fingertips in the nape of the neck to provide a little bit more weight. Grab for opposite elbows and now let your arms hang. Maybe close your eyes. Breathing. Belly's resting on the thighs. Okay, release your hands. And now inhale, take a flat back. So finger pads either on the floor or hands to shins. And peel your chest forward. Now notice what happens with the rib cage. Knit it in. And send your sit bones straight back. Keep knitting the rib cage in. And reach the crown of your head forward. Internally rotating the thighs, pressing them back. Activating through the triceps and the lats as you press into your shins, or if your fingertips are on the floor, it's like you're trying to drag them back. Good. So these stretches are all engagement. Right? We're not yanking ourselves in a stretch. We're stretching our bodies. We're opening up through engagement, through isometric engagement. So really, really think about where you can engage to continue to feel that length in the spine, that stretch, that expansion from the midsection. One more breath. Awesome. Belly button pulls all the way in now. Hollow out the belly, rebend the knees, and fold. Okay. And any way that's comfortable for you, let's come into a lunge on the right leg. Okay. So if it feels like more comfortable for you to place the back knee down, feel free, that's always an option. Otherwise, we're gonna work through this stretch with the back knee lifted right now. Now from there, start to walk the right hand into the midline. Walk your right foot out just a smidge. Okay. Blocks are always welcome here if you want to take your hands on blocks. And then start to think about the right outer hip drawing back and simultaneously push into the big toe of your front foot. So front big toe pushes back and then the outer right hip pulls back. And then from there, start to press the back of your heel, back heel, all the way back in space. So there's this layer of fascia that is kind of like the saran wrap of your body, and it connects from the center of the bottom of your foot to your forehead. So what we're going to attempt to do today is stretch that. So that starts with really pressing your back heel back in space. So think inner and outer heel are pushing, toes are tucked. Okay, start to feel that stretch in the back of the leg, engage your quadricep. And now just start to tuck your chin to your chest. And push into your hands, round your spine. One more breath. Lower your back knee down. Start to peel your right knee open. Walk your hands now away from your bent leg, over the opposite way. Pause, hold. Allow the right leg to just gently lower to the right, staying on that knife edge of your foot. And then start to walk your hands back through center. Take your left hand down, place your right hand to your inner thigh, and just peel your right thigh away. Now as you do that, twist a little bit, but keep the center of your back thigh pressed down. So don't rotate onto the outer edge. Tendency is to do so. We're just trying to protect the knee. So pressing into this right thigh, twist. Great, okay. Now from there, the very bottom portion of your back thigh is pressing down. So you're not directly on the kneecap of your back leg, okay? You're on that right above the knee. There's a flat portion where the quadricep connects into the kneecap, okay? So that's where we are. And now think about squeezing your hamstring. You're trying to get your heel over towards your butt, okay? Hold that if that feels like you're getting the stretch in the quadricep enough. If you want more, you can reach for your foot either with your hand or with your trusty belt. We're just working again through the quad. Now think about here, starting to squeeze your left glute tiny bit. Now as you squeeze the left glute, can you lift your left side rib cage up away from the pelvis? Breathing. For 2. 1, release. Start to walk the hips back, just straighten the front leg for a moment and half splits, and then come out of this right leg lunge. We're gonna come into the left leg now, whatever's comfortable, however way you wanna get there. And you can start, remember, always an option to keep the knee down, otherwise we're gonna tuck the back toes and lift the back leg, keep it off of the mat. Hands are center, either on the floor or on blocks. And then from there, start to really press through the back heel. Your leg actually lengthens. Think about the leg lengthening. Simultaneously push into the front big toe and draw the outer front hip back. So we're lengthening through the back leg, but we're still squaring off the hips. And then continuing to keep that stretch in the back heel, start to push into the floor. Tuck your chin to your chest. Imagine this fascia that travels from the center of your foot all the way up the back of your leg, back of your body, back of your neck, skull, and into your forehead. Feel that stretch. You have 2 more breaths here. One more breath. Okay, please lower your back knee. Untuck the back toes. Walk your hands out to the right, so opposite of your bent leg. Scoop your belly in, start to peel your left knee out. And again, ensuring that we're not directly on the back kneecap. So there is some space there. Breathing. Walk your hands back through center now. Keep the right hand down and place your left hand to your inner thigh. And start to just peel the inner thigh away. Peel the knee away from your body. Really think about pressing the flesh away with your palm. Knife edge of your foot is down and pushing down. So now you're feeling this engagement through the outer leg. Keep the twist. Stay on the center of your back thigh. And now if you want more, you want to work a little bit more of a quad stretch, just start by bending the back leg, trying to get your heel now into your bottom. Okay, and if that's enough of a stretch for you, that's fine, you can stay. Otherwise, reach for your back foot. Okay, if that's inaccessible, you take your strap or your belt and place it along the back of the foot and pull the foot closer. Okay. Now, as we hold this pose for 4 to 5 breaths, think about really starting to squeeze your back glute, your back buttocks muscle in towards the front of your hip. And think about lengthening the back knee away. And as you do that, think about lifting the bottom right rib cage up away from the hip. One more breath. Relax. Untuck. Place your knees together now. And let's have a seat on our heels or whatever's comfortable. We're just gonna kind of shake out our wrists, okay? Any way you want. Give it a good shake. All right. Place your thumbs now into your palms. Close your forefingers on your palms. Now here, so to just turn like your nails towards your inner wrists, like so. So it looks like you kind of want to punch your knuckles together. Okay, now from there, take your elbows now wide where you're not flexing. You're gonna turn your knuckles in towards the top of your shoulder. Okay, now keeping that roundedness in the wrists, keep that, okay? That stays the whole time. Squeeze your elbows long, keep rounding through the wrists, and now just start to open your elbows. Keep the roundedness in the wrist. You should be feeling this in the back of the hand, top of the hand, and take it out. Bring it back in. Good. And start to roll the knuckles down towards the shoulder. Keep that. Try and keep the knuckles facing the shoulder and pull it apart. One more like that. Awesome. Okay, now turn the knuckles down. Turn the knuckles back. Stretch the fingers. Oh, shake it out. Okay, that's good. All right. We're gonna work just a little bit more through the shoulders. So take the arms out to a T, wrap the right arm underneath the left for eagle. You can place your palms together, or if that doesn't work here, you're here, that's totally fine. If bringing your elbows together is challenging, give yourself a hug. Okay. Pull the elbows away from the shoulders. Now as you do that, you're gonna feel, look at my shoulder blades, you're gonna feel this wideness in the shoulder blades. You're gonna feel them spread across the back. Keep the crown of the head lifted. Breathe into that space. Lift the elbows. Try not to move the spine. Just lift the elbows. Notice where you feel this. And now point the elbows forward or point the fingertips forward as the elbows are lifted, and allow the forearms and the hands to twist one way. Let your ear twist the opposite way. So right ear, right shoulder, fingertips reaching to the left. Good. And now let's switch that back. A little bit over to the right. Left ear, left shoulder. Good. Okay. Unwind. Take your hands behind your back. Interlace them. Bring the heels of your hands together. Send the knuckles down. Pull the shoulders down. Tuck the chin. Lift the head. We're going to do the other side. Left arm underneath the right. Cross at the elbows or give yourself a hug. Pull the elbows away. Draw the shoulders down. Lift the crown of the head. Breathe into the middle upper back. And now same deal here. So start to feel the shoulder blades widen. Start to lift the elbows. Point the fingertips forward as you lift the elbows. Keep the shoulder blades wide. And now begin to let the fingertips gently tick-tock over to the right, left ear. And then right ear. And then switch. Fingertips over to the left, right ear. Remember, we're keeping them lifted. Good. Bring them back through center. Release. Shake out the shoulders. Just shimmy. Okay. Now we're going to come into one more stretch here. So you may want to sit on your pillow or on a blanket. Okay. And if you have a block, grab the block. We're going to place it between the feet. So sitting on the edge of the blanket, knees are going to splay out wide. If you've got the openness in the hips, then you've got the block. If there's no openness in the hips and it feels already too challenging to have the block between the feet, that's totally fine. Keep the feet just how they are. And then from there, you're going to just lift the chest and press the feet into one another. And you're going to feel this engagement in the inseam of the leg. Okay, we want that. So press the feet into one another. You can almost do that with your hands, I guess, too. So we'll engage the chest, too. Let's do that. All right, so press everything into the midline. Think about the ribs drawing into the midline. Keep pressing the feet into the midline, into one another, keeping that engagement. Notice if that engagement kind of works its way around your legs in any sort of way. Okay, so just notice. Maybe close the eyes, keep pushing. Release that. Release the press. Now take your hands into your thigh creases and start to roll your thighs out. So you're rolling your thighs back. Now thumbs are pushing into the thighs, right where the hip crease and thigh meet. Okay, now as you do that, lift the chest. Remember how we did in the beginning? We lifted the chest, lift the spine, roll the shoulders back, breath in. Start to press into the feet. As you exhale, fold. Cool. Keep pushing into the feet gently. Keep your hands pressing on the backs of your thighs. Okay. We're going to transition now the hands onto the feet. The thumbs are going to go right into the center of the foot. And you're going to just self-massage on the bottom of the foot. So push the thumbs into the foot. Now simultaneously press the elbows down onto the shins. Let the thighs open a tiny bit more. With that inhale, you breathe length, and with the exhale, you breathe softness. Slowly breathe in and come up. Extend your legs forward. Point the toes. Just reach, point. So we're stretching the tops of the feet, that's it. Point, 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 point. Turn the inner thighs down, keep pointing and reaching. Give a nice flex to the feet. Okay, let's come on to our backs for our final pose. Supine twist. So a nice way to end the practice today. Take your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg. Take a nice big breath in. On your breath out, twist. Start to really, really embrace the cracks if you feel them or hear them. Keeping the shoulders grounded. Inhale your right knee back up. Exhale, lengthen it long. Inhale your left knee into your chest. Good. Exhale, cross it over to the right. Supine twist. So we're finding that length again in the spine upon the inhale, and then finding that twist on the exhale. One more breath. Inhale your left knee back into your chest. Exhale, lengthen the legs long. Reach the arms back. Flex the feet for a moment and really lengthen through the backs of the legs. You'll feel that stretch along the sacrum. Big breath in. On your breath out, roll over to one side and come up. Take your pillow or your blocks, whatever one you have, and go ahead and place it underneath your legs. And then you're going to take your blanket and you're going to place it right on top of your belly. Come onto your back. Blanket on the belly, okay, to provide a little bit more grounding sensation. And then roll the shoulders away from the ears, let the palms face up. And take 5 minutes here to completely relax the bones, soften the face, relax the belly, relax your heart. Soak in this sensation of relaxation, of surrender. Namaste.